Hey lovelies, it's Kate. Welcome back to another Sims 4 speed build. I wanted to try something new and fresh and fun, so I decided to build a crystal cave mansion. There is a cave below the house. I used lots of crystals. These crystals are debug objects, and it was so much fun to work on this build because it was just something new and exciting. I combined a really magical and modern style, so the house itself looks kind of modern as you saw, but then we have all these crystals, so it's kind of a fun mix, and I was excited to try something new. Like for me it's new because this is not my usual style. So here I worked on the floor first. When you hold down Control and F on your keyboard, you can make it so you only fill half a tile, so you can create patterns like this. And the cool thing is, once you've laid out your pattern, you can just change the color, which is what I'm going to do. So I didn't have to redo the whole thing, the whole pattern, because eventually I ended up using a wooden floor color. And you will see that I'm going to use a wooden trim very soon. So here at this point, I already decided to use lots of wood, lots of wooden colors, these columns, this exterior trim. Then I used this Get Famous wall decoration, so it kind of has the look of a really modern mountain cabin. I mean, I built this in Granitefalls. This is my favorite world to work on builds like this. But then we have this fun twist with the crystal cave and all that stuff, and it was just really exciting to work on this build, as I said. So this house has 5 stories in total, but we can only stack 4 rooms on top of each other. And I just kind of had to circumvent this rule. So this area here is not connected to the rest of the house. I already raised the terrain a little bit, as you can see, and I'm going to flatten out the raised terrain, and then I'm going to build the rest of the house on the terrain. So this is not connected. So this is just a little trick that you can use if you want to build super tall buildings. When you work on a castle, for example, like last year at some point I worked on the Disney castle, and I also used this trick for this. You simply don't connect all the different areas. You could also raise the foundation to make a part of the build super tall, and this is just a little trick if you want to work on a massive mansion or if you want to build a castle. That's always super fun. And here I use lots of debug rocks, of course. You guys know that I love them, and I just placed them all around my build. And here at this point I didn't even have the crystal idea yet. I knew that I would like to build a cave. This was kind of my main idea. I wanted to have a cave, and I think this is why I leaned towards the whole modern layout at first. I just wanted to have a combination of like lots of landscaping and a cave, but at the same time really modern. Like you have this type of landscape, and then you just build a mansion like this on top, and then I ended up incorporating all these crystals. And here I'm working on the other part of the build. As you can here clearly see, it's not connected to the other room. And so here I was able to stack all these rooms on top of each other. And I also ended up raising the platform on the top of this part of the build. This is like a stairwell. And then I just had this really tall tower, kind of. It's almost looks like a tower. And then I started to figure out the rest of the build. So I wanted to have this area up here. This is kind of the main section of the house, you could say, where I built the kitchen and the living room and all that. So this is kind of the main part. And your Sims can walk up this slope at the bottom, so there are some stairs later on. I almost forgot this again. Like once I worked on a base game build, and all of you were like, okay, but how are the Sims supposed to access this build? Because like in the video I had forgotten to add stairs, and then after I finished the video, when I playtested the house, I noticed that there's no way to access the build. And this almost happened again because I placed all these debug rocks down there. It looked really neat, and they were going all around the build. And then I thought, okay, I need a gap so I can add some stairs. So I'm going to remove a couple of debug rocks down there, and then your Sims will step on the area where I worked on the pattern on the floor. And then on the right side, it's not finished yet, they can walk up the slope. I'm going to smooth it out, and then they enter the door in the tower. Like down there will be a door, and then they can just access all the different floors by using the stairs. And yeah, And then I wanted to have a pool, and I decided to hide the pool by using lots of debug rocks again. And then I wanted to have my cave on the right side. But you can see that this is like a really small area because of the pool. So I eventually moved the pool over to the left a little bit, so I had more space down there. Because, I mean, look at this. The opening is just so small on the right side, so I definitely had to change this. And I built some trellis using the smallest half wall height available. The half walls are just perfect to create something like this, and I just used it all over the build, like in different areas. And I then decided to have a round section on the right side, so I moved the pool over to the left, and then I had this round section. As you can see, the opening is much bigger now, and I smoothed out the terrain. So here at this point I was finally able to create the cave, or I was at least able to flatten the terrain. So this is the area where I'm going to work on the cave, and then I had to make it look like a cave, of course. So I had to create a opening, and I used lots of debug rocks. And at first I wanted to use one of the Snowy Escape ones, no, first I used this one, which is from Eco Lifestyle, but I didn't like the color because it's much darker than the other rocks and it kind of stood out. I wanted to have the same color for all the rocks, so I eventually ended up using one from, I think, Eco Lifestyle as well, but it just has the same color as the other ones basically. And my initial plan was to rotate one of the rocks so it would be upside down, so I could just kind of hang it below the ceiling, but this wasn't working. I couldn't rotate it using tool. So as you can see here up there, I just placed all these tiny rocks from Eco Lifestyle, and then I had the idea to use lots of crystals. These crystals are from Realm of Magic, so you can find them in the debug menu. I just love the bright color, and later on I incorporated some emeralds, which kind of makes sense. I mean, let's be real. But this was actually Sadie's idea. Like I showed her to her, and she was like, oh my god, at first I thought these were tiny pools, and then I thought, oh no, it's supposed to look like crystals. And then she recommended the emeralds as well, and I mean, it makes sense. And then I wasn't sure if I would replace all crystals with the emerald ones because it would be so fun, but then I thought, no, the color looks so beautiful. I love this beautiful blue color. It kind of looks like a pool, like lots of tiny pools. And then I just end up adding some emeralds here and there. And speaking of Sadie, this object here, this wooden plank, is an object that she uses all the time. And it's absolutely amazing what she creates just using this one object. You can find it in most of her builds, or all of her builds. And it's just, she's just the queen of this object. And when you use tool, you can do so many amazing things with this. And I just had to use it to just make it like this slope. I just wanted to make it look more interesting, kind of. So shout out to Sadie, the queen of this wooden plank, and she's just generally so amazing. She is wonderful, and you just have to check her out. I'm going to link her channel down below. If you haven't checked her out yet, you have to. You just have to check her out. And here at this point, I decided to use lots of shelves. This is the base game shelf to create some custom exterior trims. I really like to do that, and I feel like in the early days of my channel, I did it all the time, and I especially like to use the shelf from Get Together usually, but here I used the base game one. You can just add so much detail to a build by simply placing a shelf on the exterior, which is amazing. You have to keep in mind though, when Sims can reach it, they are going to put some stuff on it, like plates for example, so you have to keep that in mind when you place it somewhere so it's higher up. This would be better. Sometimes I have to admit I don't always keep that in mind, I'm just saying, but yeah, just a general advice. So here I built another cave. This is more of a decorative cave. The other cave is going to be functional, so your Sims can access the cave, but this one here just looks really fancy. I felt like there was so much empty space on the left side. I just wanted to fill it, and I really wanted to go overboard with all these crystals. At first I only wanted to place a couple of them here and there, but then I thought, okay, I will turn this into a crystal cave mansion, I want to have lots of crystals everywhere. And you just saw how I finally added some stairs. Like, I noticed and I fixed it. So I was lucky that I noticed this early on, so I didn't have to make some big changes later on. Here I'm adding more shells. Sometimes it's weird, like sometimes you can't really place them where you want to place them. This is like super weird. I don't know, sometimes shelves and just anything you place on a wall is acting weird in this game. Then I expanded this area. I have my pool, and then I wanted to have a proper area where Sims can just sit and have a barbecue, for example. So I'm building more trellis. I'm using a half wall again, the lowest half wall height available, and you can just build a rectangle, a square, whatever. You can use the sledgehammer tool to remove the floor on the inside, and then you simply build more walls to create this look. I always do it this way, so I build my, like the general shape, my rectangle for example, so I only have to remove the floor once by using the sledgehammer tool, because otherwise you have to delete all these tiny floor pieces, which also isn't that bad, but this is just a general recommendation. It's much quicker and easier to do it this way. So you lay out your shape, you remove the floor, and then you just keep on building. And I then added just some tables and chairs, so it's functional, and some lounge chairs, so it looks fancy. And then I had no idea which windows to add up there at first. I wanted to use some modern ones at first, but then I ended up using these windows from Snowy Escape. I think they are from Snowy Escape. They look more rustic, and I felt like it makes sense because of this whole mountain cabin theme. And of course I had to add a floaty to the pool. I really like to use the white swatch. I used the orange-white one for once. And here I'm building a pool down there, and I'm working on the cave actually. So in the back of the build, the cave is open, as you can see here. I have the story up there, like the house, and the back, it's like completely open. This is not a proper cave yet, so I had to use lots of rocks, mostly debug rocks, but also other rocks to kind of close the backside of this cave to turn it into a proper cave. And that's what I did. And then I added lots of crystals, including these beautiful emeralds, lots of gems, as you can see. And then I just finished the back of the house, and here I'm using a pool, but I ended up getting rid of the pool and I placed some hot springs in there. They come with Snowy Escape. If you don't own Snowy Escape, for example, you can always just build a pool down there, and it's functional. And these glowing orbs are from Realm of Magic. They come in different colors. I wanted to use this color because it's basically the same color as all my crystals, so it looks really magical and glowing. It's like a fantasy element. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but I wanted it to look magical and cute. And here you can really see the back of the house, all these debug rocks. I also added some trees. So down there below this floor there is the cave, so it's not fully closed as in like building a wall or a room all around my cave. I just used all these rocks, so the light is outdoor light down there, but I mean, this doesn't, like, I don't know, it's probably realistic because it is on the outside. I just wanted to mention this. So this is how I created the cave. And I at first was worried that I wouldn't be able to make it look like a proper cave and how to close it on the other side. But here at this point, I was really happy with how it turned out, and that there was still enough space left to place lots of debug rocks to just close it. And for this, I can recommend the Snowy Escape debug rocks, like if you want to create some type of wall like this, the way I did in the back. And also there is one from Get Together, and the good old Cats and Dogs debug rock. I really like this one because it's really easy to kind of merge it into the terrain. It doesn't sit on the terrain weirdly, so this is like my recommendation if you want to use some debug rocks. Use the Cats and Dogs one if you are new to this, if you have no idea how to do it. The Cats and Dogs one is brilliant. I haven't mentioned this in a while, so I just have to mention this now, I feel like. And then I worked on the floor plan a little. I also added some stairs over there, so your Sims will be able to just walk up there on the outside, so they don't have to enter the house to get up there. And then I started to furnish. And furnishing this was really fun, actually. I also wanted to have a quite modern interior, at the same time rustic, so it's a mix. So I used this floor color to make it more rustic and like some type of cabin. I wanted to have a chimney right in the center of the house, so I was able to attach a fireplace. And this is such an open floor plan, it's really spacious. I just wanted to divide the room a bit, and then I merged 4 tables together. These are from the base game. We got this table or both tables in the free base game update a while ago, and then I just added 2 shelves on top of the tables just so it looks fancy. These stairs are from City Living, so I created a really fancy huge dining table by merging multiple of them together, and I feel like this dining table is perfect for this. Again, this is from the base game. If you don't have this yet, you just have to update your game. And then I used the Granitefalls bar because it's round and it's beautiful, and it just looks so modern. And I said it a couple of times, but I just love a lot of the objects in this pack. I know not everyone is a fan of this pack, but I mean, look at this bar. This pack gave us this bar, and I'm just really happy about this. And this painting on the wall is no CC gallery art. As always, you can find all the IDs in the description box where I'm giving credit for the gallery art, and you can just look up these amazing creators and you will love their art. Like, there's so much great no CC gallery art, and I just love it. It makes it look like a CC build, but it's not. Then I used some armchairs, a round table. I just wanted to have this really modern, luxurious living area. I just love how open and sun-flooded and bright this whole interior is. I used so many windows all around the build, and then I also used a wall to divide the interior and the back behind the bar, and I also used some windows for this. I'm going to remove a couple of them because I'm going to build the kitchen over here. Here you just saw it. And also these lighting stripes on the wall are from Spa Day, and you can easily match them together, so you can fill a whole wall just by using this one object, so you have a glowing wall, which is amazing. And I'm going to do this behind the kitchen, as you will see. And I wanted to have a really minimalistic, super modern kitchen. And I'm also using some no CC gallery art here as a backsplash, so this looks like a black brick. And here you can see how I'm using this lighting stripe all behind the kitchen to have this super glowing wall. There's also a wallpaper from Spa Day, which is glowing in the dark, like literally when it's dark, when it's night on the outside in this game, it's glowing. But this way, it's like, this is way more glowing, way more brighter. So if you want to have this type of look, I can really recommend to use the Move Objects cheat and to just combine lots of these lamps. I then just decorated the kitchen, and this little table is also from the free base game update. We just got so much amazing stuff in this update. Also, speaking of updates, we are going to get some bunk beds in The Sims in a couple of days. It's a base game update, and we're going to get some news on the 22nd, and then one day after that, on the 23rd, we are going to get the update apparently. So I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited what's going to happen, and some people were speculating if the whole thing would be tied to a pack announcement, but I personally don't think so, because I mean, if there would have been just an announcement, then maybe yes, but we now know that we are going to get the update one day after, and there's no way that we are going to get a new pack one day after the announcement, so I don't think so personally. But we are going to see when we will get some new content. I've heard some type of rumor, I don't know if it's true, that there is never a pack in April for some reason, I don't know, so maybe we will have to wait until May or June. I don't know, I'm just ready for some new content, like maybe a really big and good expansion pack that does not disappoint, like something that we've all been hoping for. I don't know, I just want to have a really fun pack. I'm just ready for a expansion pack again. I want to have a new world, maybe a new style, and I don't know, we will see. And this here is one of the bedrooms. There are 4 bedrooms in total, and I wanted to have a super cute room where I have the bed in the corner. So I used these curtains from the Movie Hangout stuff pack, I think, and then I just used a lot of pink and some peach colors, so it's like really soft pastel colors in this room. The wall decoration on the left side is from Parenthood, and I decorated another kids room right next to this one, and then there are 2 regular bedrooms, so these definitely have some type of teenager branding, so if you want to let a family move in, that's perfect. This is a rental lot because they built this in Granitefalls, but when you grab this from the gallery, it's a regular residential lot in any other world, so you can just download this from the gallery and use it as a regular lot because that's what it is. Also, I can totally recommend to just use the, what is it called, the free build sheet. I forgot what it's called. I think it's the cheat that you can use to build on a lot in all these alien worlds, for example, on Sixum. And when you enable this cheat, you can switch back and forth from live mode to build mode on rental lots in Granitefalls, because the problem is you usually can't do this. So when you let your Sims go on a vacation there, you usually can switch to build mode. And not only is this very convenient when you want to build here, especially when you use tool, but also back then when I still had enough time to play, when I wasn't just building, I remember building a rental lot for my Sims and then I let them go on a vacation, and then I was like, oh no, the sink is blocked or something, and I just wanted to move it, and then I had to end the whole vacation of my Sims just to fix the sink, and then I had to fix another thing. I just had to go back and forth, or sometimes remembered that I don't know, I wanted to place a chess table or something, and this was really annoying. So I can just totally recommend to use a cheat for this, so you can just switch to build mode if you have to. I think it's the BB dot enable free build one, but I could be wrong. I have all my cheats activated by default using MC Command Center, so I've forgotten some of the cheats, I feel like. And this video is slowly coming to an end. Thank you so much for watching, but first it's time to thank my wonderful Emerald Patreons. Thank you so much to Britta1607, Charlotte, Molly, Quinn Wynn, Riel Morrison, Shamonique Jefferson, Shannon McClam, and Sim Sadie. And also, I'm so sorry if I ever pronounce a name wrong. I'm doing my best and I'm so sorry. So thank you so much for watching, and of course thank you to all my other patrons as well, and thank you to anyone who watches this and supports me in general. Thank you just so much for being here. I love you all so much. And here you can see some screenshots. This build is available in the gallery. You can find my ID and the lot name in the description box, and also the tray files are available on my Patreon. And I hope you have a perfect weekend. I love you all so much. I hope you're doing well, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.